Good morning, you guys. If you can't already tell, I just rolled out the bed. You can kind of see the imprint on my face on my bracelet. Your girl's sleeping good. These are oil stains from my lips. I just put on avocado oil and vitamin E oil on my lips, so y'all ain't about to sit here and catch me slipping, okay, with dry, crusty lips, just waking up. Excuse the eyebrows. I haven't done them since March. But anyway, this is going to be the story time about my worst date ever, okay? So this story takes place during my senior year. Now, it's literally at the very end of my senior year because it's literally the day before graduation. Graduation practice is when this dude asked me for my number, and we are going to call him Mark. So with Mark, I always saw him, you know, in passing and whatnot at school, but we really didn't have our first conversation until graduation practice, and that's when he asked me for my number, which was the worst mistake of my life, and here's why. All right, welcome back, you guys. Obviously, since you're here for part 2, and we are gonna go ahead and get into that now. So like I told y'all, I knew him, I saw him in passing, and the reason why I saw him so much at school was because your girl was extremely sick my senior year of high school, like extremely sick senior year. And he was like an office aide, so like the office aides and the nurse aides at my school, they were kind of like all in one. Since I was so sick, I always spent my time in the nurse's office because I really couldn't be in like class and things like that, because I was just always like really sick. So I would be in class, or you know, sometimes I would have to be in the nurse's office if I got too sick, or you know, I would be in class and the ambulance would have to come get me. So I really wasn't that well. So back to what I was saying in part 1, we did not speak until graduation practice, and that's when he asked me for my number. I did end up giving him my number because, I mean, he was sweet, he was respectful, and I never heard, you know, any complaints or anything like crazy about him, because I mean, at my school, you know, there were rumors and stuff about certain people, certain things, and he didn't have like a bad reputation. So I'm like, all right, cool, he might be a legit dude. But little did I know that was all a fraud, okay? A complete fraud. He was a good person. He was just still a little boy. Let's just put it that way. That's the nicest way I can put it. So, you know, graduation, you know, the casual flirt, like, oh, you look so pretty, you look so handsome, that type of stuff. And then, you know, we finally decided, all right, let's go out on our first date. Time comes and we're getting ready for the date, right? Neither one of us drive, but he wanted an Uber. My mama crazy. She was like, no, y'all ain't getting no Uber, because I was only 17 when I graduated. Yeah, so my mom's like, you know what? We'll go pick him up. I'll drop y'all off wherever y'all doing the date at, and y'all have this many hours, and bada boom, bada bing. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I told him, and he was like really opposed to it, because he's like, I'm grown. Because mind you, he was like 18, I believe, at the time. So he was like, no, like, I'm grown. That's crazy. But I'm like, okay, well, the only way you going out with me if you go by my mama's rules and whatnot. So I mean, that's what we did. We went by my mom's rules, because ain't none of us crazy. You feel me? And so we went to his sister's house and we picked him up, and my mom took us to one of the bougie like outdoor malls that we have here, because we were gonna go walk around the mall, and then we were gonna do a movie and do dinner. So when we get to the mall, we get our movie tickets first, so there wasn't going to be a rush when we got there, because we knew like it was going to be crowded. But to give y'all somewhat of a time frame, this is when, what was the movie? Sausage Party that came out, because we were going to go see that, but y'all know that movie was rated R, and like I said, I was only 17 and my mama crazy. So we ended up seeing, I think it was The Secret Life of Pets, because that had just came out. So, you know, we get our tickets and then we go, I want to say to like Jared's or to Kay's, some type of jewelry store, because he was really big into investment. So he had jewels with him, and he wanted to, you know, of course, try to see how much they would charge him to get it like set in something, so he could sit here, flip it, make a profit off of, right? So that was smooth, fine and dandy. It was awkward because the lady there just assumed we were like in a relationship. So she was like, oh, so this is the lucky lady you're going to get these set for. And he's like, no, I'm going to sell these. And then it was like really awkward. That's besides the point. So now it's time for the movie, and we're walking back to the theater, and we walk straight in because we already have our tickets, right? And like I told you guys, like we already had our tickets. We walked straight in the movie. So the movie was fine or whatever. Of course, he did the whole yawn thing, put his arm around me. But I mean, nothing else happened beside of that. And then we left and we went to Red Robin. And I know it's Red Robin because I still have yet to go back to this Red Robin location, okay? So we're sitting here talking and we're having a good time, and I'm laughing, I'm joking, like I'm having a really good time. And then literally out of nowhere, like once the food comes, he's like, I gotta be honest with you, like we really need to really talk about something serious. And I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, like maybe he's gonna ask me, you know, to continue, like to go out on dates and like see where I'm at, like mindset, like if I wanted to like actually date him and be in a relationship with him. Girl, no, that won't the tea. I'm about to tell y'all what really happened. Back to what I was saying, you know, he wanted to talk, and I'm sitting here thinking what I was thinking, like, oh dang, he like me, like we gonna go on another date. Girl, no, that's not what happened in the slightest. He was like, yeah, Aunt Shantia. Now for y'all that don't know, my name is Aunt Shantia, but I do go by Tia by most people because most people can't say my name, but that's besides the point. He was like, yeah, Aunt Shantia, you're a really sweet girl and all, but you know, it's not fair because I have other girls trying to talk to me, and it's not fair that you get all my time and attention and they want to talk to me and they want to get to know me too. When I sit here and I tell you guys, like my heart just went, it just dropped to the pit of my stomach, because I was like, what do you mean? Because I was under the impression like he wasn't talking to anybody else, like it was just me and him talking, nobody else was in the picture, okay? And you guys, y'all who like personally know me knows like I would have went off like right then and there, but for some reason like I was just in so much shock. I was just like, I'm sitting here like eating my fries, dipping them in ranch, and I'm just like, I know this isn't happening. And there was like a whole bunch of like older people around us. I mean, everybody who was around us, so I want to say it was like a Saturday night, so everybody who was around us at that time, and my mom won't having me go out late, so it was like literally everybody around me was like 60 plus, and I really don't want to cause a scene or interrupt anyone else's dinner, but I'm like, oh my god. Then I'm like, okay, like I'm about to get up and walk. Then I'm like, oh shoot, I don't drive. If I call my mom, she's gonna know something's up, and I did not want her to embarrass me, because if my mom knew that was said, my mom would have went cleaned off the whole entire time in the car while we were dropping him off, because my mom's not a mean person. It's not like she would like sit here and leave him, but she would have been going off like the whole time, like, oh, you better not hit up my daughter again. So basically, you guys, I literally just sat there and I heard everything that he had to say. I'm like, ain't no way in the world like I'm ever dealing with this type of disrespect again, because I'm like, okay, like we have been talking, you know what I'm saying? And I honestly can't remember how long we were talking before the date, but like when I say like we were literally on the phone all day, all night, like literally like nonstop. And I mean, that was like a complete shock to me, because I specifically asked, like, you know, like, what is this, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I've always been, majority of the time, like, I'm a straightforward person. So I always ask, like, so what is the situation? Are you talking to anybody else? Or are you just getting to know people right now? Just so I know what I'm getting myself into, okay? And I mean, with him, it was, like, really crazy. And the reason why I say that is the sole reason, like, he's like, you know, like, I really like you. Like, you're everything, like, I've wanted you, everything. I prayed to God for, like, stuff like that. But of course he was like, he loved the idea of me, but not me as a person, like who I am, and not like Tia. Like, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And yeah, y'all, that was literally like the worst date I've ever been on. And mind y'all, that was literally only my second date that I have ever been on in my entire life. But that's a little bit about me. I hope y'all enjoyed this makeup story time. Please go ahead and like, go ahead and share, go ahead and drop a comment. And the funny thing is, he did try talking to me later, of course, like after like a couple years after that whole situation happened. And if y'all want that story time, please put that in the comments.